When we think of academic integrity and ethics in academic writing, the first thing that comes to our mind is plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Is the act of presenting the words, ideas, images, sounds or the creative expression of others as your own. Another definition of plagiarism is it is the act of stealing someone else's work and attempting to pass it off as your own. This can apply to anything from term papers to photographs to songs, even ideas. Yes. How bad is plagiarism? Yes, plagiarism is the theft of intellectual property. Plagiarism is cheating. Plagiarism may result in receiving a failing grade or 0 for the assignment. Plagiarism could result in disciplinary actions. Students caught plagiarizing may be denied admittance to further academic courses. People have lost their positions and honor because of plagiarism. There are two types of plagiarism. One is intentional, the other is unintentional. Under intentional, copying a friend's work, doing friend's homework, buying or borrowing papers, cutting and pasting blocks of text from electronic sources without documenting them, media borrowing without documentation, etc. are all intentional plagiarism. Whereas careless paraphrasing, poor documentation, quoting excessively, failure to use your own ideas, all these are unintentional plagiarism. When we adopt ideas from others, we do it in three ways. They are quoting, paraphrasing and summarizing. Quoting. Quotations are the exact words of an author copied directly from a source, word for word, and hence quotations must be cited. While quoting, people copy as such and it is called as verbatim copying. Verbatim or copying as such from the source. In such situation, you have to put the copied content in double inverted commas and provide in-text citation. If the number of words in the copied content goes beyond 39 words, it should be converted as a block quote with the in-text citation. Paraphrase. Writing in your own language. Paraphrasing is restating text, giving the meaning in another form. You paraphrase when you use text written by another person. Rewrite the text in your own words. Paraphrasing shows that you have read and understood the original text rather than repeating it word for word. In such situation, you have to put the copied content with the in-text citation. No need of inverted commas. Do I have to cite everything? The answer is no. If something you write is common knowledge, you need not provide citation. If you are doing in-text citations, you don't have to cite facts that are widely known or information or judgments considered common knowledge. Mahatma Gandhi is considered as father of our nation. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. These are actually common knowledge. If you see a fact in 3 or more sources and you are fairly certain your readers already know this information, it is likely to be common knowledge. But when in doubt, definitely you have to give citation. No need to cite when you are discussing your own experiences, observations or reactions. Compiling the results of your original research from science experiments etc. There is no need of citing. You are using common knowledge. That time also there is no need of citations. Just like internet is helping you in getting the literature that you need, it also helps the authorities to check whether you have copied or you have plagiarized content in your research work. There are many softwares to check similarity in the academic writing. Such software detect the extent of similarity in your research reports. Some of them are Authenticate, Turnitin and Urquhart. The earlier presentation might have given you some idea about what plagiarism is and how we can avoid it. I will explain it in little more detail. I will also explain in detail how we can use MS Word for citations and references, which will help in a big way to avoid the blame of plagiarism. When you take content from other researchers or other authors, you do it in 3 formats. You copy it as such without any change in the wordings, then it is called as verbatim copying. Sometimes you read the content, assimilate it, you understand what it is, then write it in your own language. That is called as paraphrasing. The third option is you read the entire content, understand the meaning, then write it in a summarized format. It is called summarizing. So these are the three methods by which you adopt content from other sources. In all these three cases, you have to be very careful to do certain things so that people should not say you have plagiarized. First method, I'll just tell what you have to do in the case of a verbatim copy. If you are doing verbatim copy, what you have to do is provide inverted commas in the beginning and at the end of the text. Beginning and end of the text you have to provide inverted commas, double inverted commas. And then at the end you have to provide citation details, year of publication along with the first name of the author, last name of the author. But remember, if the number of words in that quotation is below 39, that means up to 39, you can continue with the running text. You need not do anything. You can just continue up to 39 words. Whereas if it is going beyond 39 words, you have to make it a block quote. Block quote in the sense it should be away from the margin, 0.5 inches from the margin. It should be kept separately as a block, separate block. There also you have to put inverted commas in the beginning as well as at the end. Then citation and references are required. This is how you have to manage verbatim copy. Whereas if you are paraphrasing something, you need not put inverted commas. But what you have to do is you have to provide citation details, in-text citation. At the end of the quote, you have to provide citation with the name of the author and year of publication. That is the usual pattern. Sometimes numbered style also is there, doesn't matter. Same is the number of words is not an issue. It can be any number. But because you are paraphrasing it, even in summarizing also it is the same. You need not provide any sort of inverted commas or anything. But you have to provide citation because you are taking content, the idea from somebody else. In these cases, this is the way to avoid plagiarism, avoid the blame of plagiarism. Now another issue is whether the common knowledge has to be cited and reference has to be provided. Common knowledge. For example, Gandhiji is the father of India. It's a common knowledge for everyone. Like that, many things are there. So how will you ensure that it is common knowledge? If some 3 to 4 sources it is mentioned the same way, you can believe that it is an accepted knowledge. But if you are in a confusion that you do not know whether it is common knowledge or not, I advise you it is better to provide citation and references. Now these are the methods whereby you have to provide citation and references. But another problem is there. You have to format your references according to a particular style. Internationally accepted styles. You know about APA, American Psychological Association, Modern Language Association, all these styles are there. So in such a case, what you can do is, you have to automate the process of inserting citation and bibliography. This is possible. Even with MS Word, this is possible. So in this session, what I am going to do is, I am going to give some minimum training on how to use MS Word for citations and creating a bibliography in a research report. Please see what I am doing. Okay, let us start using MS Word. Here I have written an article with the title Information Literacy and Learning. In this, in the first paragraph, you can see some text I have colored red. This text I have actually copied from another article without much changes. It means without any changes. So it is called as verbatim copy, but the number of words here are below 40. So what we can do is we can write it along with the text, along with the running text. You need not make it into a block code. Whereas below here there is a paragraph. It is also verbatim copy, means without any changes I have copied from another source, but it is above 40 words. Here another paragraph I have taken from a source document, which after reading I understood the content and then I wrote it in my own language. It is called paraphrased content. Here there is another paragraph which I have read the entire content of another source document and then I wrote it in my own language. It's called summarized content. So this way you can have 4 types of content taken from other sources. Now you have to tell this system that these are the sources from where I have taken this content. For that, what you have to do is you have to go to References tab. There you can see a set of commands, citations and bibliography. There is something called Manage Sources, Style, Bibliography and Insert Citations. 4 command buttons are there. Out of that, you have to click on Manage Sources. When you click, a dialog box comes. So here, what you have to do is click on the New button, and this dialog box is called Source Manager. In this, you have to click on the New button. So here, the type of source will be listed like this in a drop-down menu. Out of that, you have to select the appropriate item. For example, in this case, the first item what I wanted to include is a journal article. So select journal articles. Now here you have to add the names of authors. So for example, if I wanted to add them, it is better to add using this edit button. It's very easy. Here it will ask the last name, first name and middle name of the author. So here I am typing my name, and my last name is Gopakumar and my first name is V, and then click add. Along with me there was my guide also who has helped me in writing the article, so I am putting his name also, Baradol, and his first name is A and middle name is K, and that also we have to add. So both of them have come here. Here you can see Gopakumar, comma V, which we have not given, but Baradol, comma AK. Now click OK. You can see that both of them have come here with an inverted, with a semicolon. It has come there between the two names. There is a semicolon, which we have not done, but the software has done it. Now here we have to give the title of the article. So it is Information Literacy among the librarians in academic institutions of Mangalore city, colon, a survey. This was the title of the article and it appeared in the journal, Indian Journal of Academic Librarianship, and it was in the year 2014, and pages, it appeared in the pages 123 to 128. But here there is a problem. For a journal article you have to have volume number and issue number, so it is not visible here. So what you have to do is, here there is an option, show all bibliography. When you click it, it will show below. You can just scroll down, you can see volume number and issue number. So volume number was 23, issue number was 4. So these are enough for a journal article. All those information what we have entered is enough to describe a journal article. You can click on the OK button. So it has been saved there. Now I have to enter the details of a book which we have used in citing the article. So I will just click on the new button. I will come to book. Here name of the author. Again I have to put my name. I have just put Gopakumar and first name is V. Click add and click OK. So it comes there. Now title of the book is Distance Learning Library Services, and it was published in the year 2016. It was published in New Delhi by today and publishers. That's enough. For a book, these details are enough, and click OK. So that also has been added there. Now if you want to have a conference proceeding added, what you have to do, click on the new button, again go for conference proceedings. Here you can put the names of authors. Again I am putting my name, Gopa Kumar, name we add, then the co-author's name I have added, and click OK. So this way the author's names have come. Now here I am trying to add the names of information literacy requirements for academic librarians, and it appeared in the conference proceeding volume in page number 234 to 239, and it was the conference was in the year 2011. Name of the conference was Caliber 2011. It happened in Panaji, Goa, and the publisher is Sage Publishers. So this way you have to give the details of the book, volume of the conference, and then click OK. That also will get saved. Now we will go for one more item, part of a book. So here, book section. It is called as book section. Again, you can give the names of authors. I'm just typing the name of my guide, Baradu, his first name, his last name, and add. I am putting another name, first name, and click OK. So these two people have written an article on information literacy and training, and the book author who has authored the total book, the bigger book, who has authored. So I will say my name, I will use the edit button only, again Gopa Kumar B. So I have edited the book in which they have written the article. That is the meaning of it. Click add and click OK. Now title of the book, Libraries of the New Age. Here it was in 2018, pages 145 to 149, and it was published in Mumbai by Sage Publishers. This way you can add the details of that book also. So like this you can add any number of books or details of the books or the journal articles, conference proceedings, even e-documents which are available from the internet, and after that you can close it. Now all these are saved in the system. It has to be used for citations and references one by one. So here you can see this is verbatim copying, but the number of words are below 40. What you have to do is, first you have to put inverted commas here. In the beginning you have to put an inverted comma, and so at the end you have to put an inverted comma. Then you have to put the citation, in text citation. For that you have to go to, your cursor should be here only. Go to insert citation, find out where is this is the document. Click on that. You can see that citation has come. Only thing is the title also appears there, but what you can do is click here, edit citation, and suppress the title. Click OK. Now you can see that the name of author and year of publication has been inserted there. Similarly, come here. In this paragraph, it is verbatim copying, but the number of words are more than 40. So as I told you earlier, it has to be away from the left margin. So what you have to do, go to home, go to paragraph, increase the left this indent as 0.05. So you can see that it has come to this side. Now here you have to provide in the beginning and end you have to provide inverted commas, and then you have to go for citations. So what you have to do, go to references, click on insert citations, say it is from this particular book. You can see that it has appeared, Baradon and Anuragha. It has come there. Now here there is another paraphrased content. As I told you, there is no need for inverted commas in the case of paraphrased content. You can directly insert the citation. Click, go for this one. So again here the title appears. You can just go to edit citation, suppress title and click OK. So it will go. Now one more item is there at the end. So this is again summarize the content. As I told you, there is no need for inverted commas, just citation only this time. This is the last one. So here also it appears. You can edit citation and then suppress title, click OK. So this way you can insert all the in-text citation. You can see here 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we have inserted the citations properly, but that is not enough, because by looking at that you won't get the full details. All the details like publish, who has published it, when was it published, and in which pages it appeared. All those things are available in the reference details. So you have to insert the bibliography. So type, you can just go to a new page or something like that, and then here click on the bibliography and bibliography. You can see that the entire bibliography is placed just below the text. So nicely it has come up, and the style that has been followed is APA style, American Psychological Association style. Now your guide says no, I don't want this particular style, you change to MLA. Don't worry, click on this and find out whether MLA style is there or not. Yes, it is there. You can click on that. Everything got changed. Or very quickly you can change. Later on somebody says no, you go for a numbered style. Click here. You can see that there is numerical reference. So everything comes. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and here also you can see 4, 3, 2, 1. So the numbered style appears like this. So this way you can easily manage your references. Any number of references can be inserted and you can create the bibliography. Later on, see if at all you make changes in this. For example, if you click here, you go to one particular item, edit and change then this year of publication as 2012. In the case of information literacy requirements of academic librarians, click OK. You say yes and then close. Now see, it has to be updated here. So when you click here there is an option update citations and bibliography. It was in the case of in this particular book, I think. In this 2011 we have changed it as 2012. So let us click here. You can see that 11 has changed to 2012. So if at all you made a mistake, you can easily change it into a different style. Again I am changing back to APA style, so it looks nice. This is how you can manage your references using in MS Word itself. Okay, I think you are able to understand what. Thank you.
Hi friends, this is a simple video tutorial on how to make use of the Urkund software. Urkund software is a platform for checking similarity in the research reports. This is provided by the UGC through the InflickNet Center, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. as we are submitting our research reports in the open repository Shodhaganga. All teachers and faculty members of the university are eligible to get an account in Urkund. Those who have not yet got an account may please write to the university librarian for an account. And once you get an email stating that you have been given with an account, you will be provided with a username and a password, and then you have to log into this website secure.urkund.com/account/auth/login. When you open this web page, on the top left hand side you will see two text boxes, one for entering the username and the other for the password. Then you are entering into the web inbox for Urkund. In the web inbox, you will find the facility for uploading the document and generate the reports. Let us go in detail.
So when you give a secure.urkund.com/account/auth/login, you will get this interface. Here you have to give your username and your password and click on the login button.
This is the web inbox of Urkund. Here on the top you can see the analysis address. This address is very important, and below that you can see the uploads, whatever we have done so far with all details will be visible. And here there is a box with a percentage shown, which means the article that has been, or the thesis that has been uploaded has 50% of similarity. Here it is 1%, 0 is in green color. So the color changes according to the ascending order of the percentage. So 0, 1 becomes yellow in color, and 34 you can see it is in orange color, and 50 it becomes red in color, and further when it reaches 100% it will be black in color. That is how it is shown. Here by typing a keyword you can just identify a particular thesis. For example, if I wanted to type one particular thesis, Prerna, you just search it, you will get the thesis like this, and then you can clear it by removing it. And here on the top right hand side you can see the option for uploading documents. This I will come little later. Here you can see your profile details and the logout button. Your profile details you can change by clicking it. You can change the password and all. Let me explain more about the interface. Here there is an exclamation mark which says that there is some issue with the document which may require your attention. This alert message is actually purposely being done because sometimes students may use a comma or colon to avoid the continuity or a sequence of text which is being copied, and they will hide it with white color while printing. So this can be detected by the software. That is why the message comes. And here you can see the unique identity number for a document that is uploaded. This is the file name. This is the message that the student has written there, which is available by clicking this also. You will get it. Then this is the size of the file. This is the number of words in it. This is the name of the person who has uploaded it, and this is the date and time when it was uploaded. Now let us see the settings. Name of the person, email ID, and the language in which the interface appears. And here there is an option, send the report by email. So when the report is generated, you will get an email stating that the analysis is available in this particular link. And here there are two options. Search in Urkund's archive. So whatever we upload, all the documents are saved in Urkund's archive. So later on when you check it, it will check that archive also. So if you click this, what will happen is the upload will be checked by earlier uploads. So naturally there is a chance that 100% similarity can occur. So to avoid that situation, you can just uncheck this. Same way in your inbox, if some document is there, by clicking this it will check that also. Now here if I type irgu.unigova.ac.in, means I am asking the software to avoid checking with this database. This is a filter. So this way you can avoid certain databases
being checked. For example, Shodhaganga you can avoid. If you want, all these things are not mandatory like that. After making changes, you can click on the update button.
Now let us see how to upload a document. On the right hand top side, you can see the upload document. It is better to right click open in a new tab. And in the interface, you can see the first thing is your analysis address you have to bring in here by clicking this drop down button. Select your analysis address and then type the message. Here you can type synopsis of Gopak Kumar for similarity check. Whatever message you type also should be meaningful so that later on you can easily identify the document. Now here is the area where you can upload the document. So click here, identify where exactly the document is available, select it and then click open. It will show the details here and then you can click on the submit button. It will say document is being sent and then you can click OK. Now what will happen is you will get a message in your email saying that we have received your upload for similarity check. That you have to ensure whether that mail has come or not. Yes, you can see here the confirmation of the receipt. Click open and see all details are available here. So this receipt ensures that your item has been uploaded into the Urkund system for similarity check. You can identify the file name also. Urkund accepts almost all document formats like PDF, DOCX, Excel files, PPT files, all those things, and open document formats also it accepts. Now let us see how to upload a document. Go to this tab, right click and click open in a new tab. So here first you have to select the analysis address, then type the subject. So here I will type, so the same matter I am putting here. If you want more things you can add. So here the subject is typed and message also almost the same only is required. Now we have to upload the document. By clicking here you can go to the downloads and this is the article. Select it. So it has come here. Now you can click on the submit button. So document has already been sent to the analysis address. Simultaneously you will get a receipt in your email. So let us see whether it has come or not. You can see that in my email account the receipt has come. It says confirmation of receipt, that the title of the article. So it is very much has been accepted by the software. Now we have to wait for the result. It may take some 5 to 10 minutes to get an analysis report, and only in certain cases when the servers are not responding it may take a little more time. Now while uploading you can remove the pictures and even the references, because same references can occur in other documents also. It is better to remove and upload it. Otherwise every time you will have to exclude that reference from similarity. Let us see whether the report has come or not. We will refresh this and see whether the report has come. So you can see here it has been accepted and here the analysis result is now blank. Once it is ready it will be shown here. So this is how you have to upload a document. So we have been alerted through an email that the analysis has been undertaken, and moreover if the percentage is shown here it means that the analysis has already been done. So you can open the analysis window by two means, by either by clicking here on this colored area, or go to the email and in this message you can see there is a link here. By opening this also you can enter into the analysis report. So I am just clicking here. So this is the interface for analysis report. Here you can see the details. If you want to see the earlier classical interface of Urkund analysis, you can click here and you will be taken to that report. So either of these you can make use of to understand the analysis of similarity in your research report. In this case, it is only 0%, so there won't be much details here. I will open a particular similarity report of the thesis and will show you the details of the analysis. This is the similarity analysis for a thesis submitted to Urkund. You can see the file name and which date it was submitted and time, who has submitted it and to which analysis address it was submitted, and the similarity details. Here on the right hand side, you can see some links. Actually, these are external links from which the similarity occurs. And this is the detailed analysis of the report. So here, in this area, it is shown in yellow color and it says 100% similarity. Actually 100% similarity with this particular paragraph. So this is, if you read it, School of Earth, Ocean and Atmospheric Sciences, Goa University. So this is a common initial page detail. So naturally this will be similar, and so it is actually linked to some other article. So we can just exclude as it is not necessary, but it has not affected the percentage as such. Similarly, you can go down and find any such things are there. For example, here there is another. When you click here, it gets selected and it will show to which external source it is related. And here also it says it is 100% similar. Now, to identify the words that are different from the original source and what the student has written, you have to click here so that you will identify which texts that are omitted by the student. Now here there is an inverted comma which shows that if there is something which is put in quotes, that can be seen, and this is within parentheses, within brackets. If anything is there, it will be shown like that. So when you go down, you can see here something is in parentheses. So you can see that this is actually the contents page and the initial pages. You can when you upload, you can avoid this also. You can just start from the introduction and end with the conclusion. That would be the better method of uploading it into the Urkund. Now here, see, these are actually the sources from where the similarity occurs. And here there is a button. When you click it, you will see each and every paragraphs in research report. Now, what we can do is, first you can click on this and identify whether the particular article is written by the concerned student herself or not. Now you can see that the article has been written by the same student. So what we can do is, here in this, you can just exclude this by just clicking here. So the earlier percentage was 29 and now it has become 13. That way you can remove similarity being shown as percentage. Now in the other case, the very next article, it is from springer.com. Let us try to open it and see whether it is, here also student's name is there. So that what we can do is, you can exclude that also from similarity. So now it is 13%. By excluding this, it has become 8%. So you have to identify whether it is the student's article or not by clicking on this. You can here also it is her name is there, so we can exclude that also, but it is not having much difference, making much difference here. So this way you can exclude items from one after the other. Now in some areas, see here what has happened is, this is actually the references. You can exclude this references one by one. It is better that this is not included by submitting for similarity check. So this work can be avoided, because you know that the same reference can occur at other documents also. I am just excluding it like this. So percentage is coming down now. Similarly, you can remove all the references. This way you can remove content that is eligible to be in the similarity and come out with a report which has the exact similarity which is within the standard that the university allows. Once it is done, what you have to do is, you have to click here and download a PDF file of the entire details. or you can share it with a person. As example, you are with your guide. This is how to interpret the analysis report and generate a similarity report using Urkund. Now let us explore the new interface of Urkund analysis window. Here you can see the indication of similarity pages, and when you click here you will be taken to all pages. Let us go down like this, and it says 350 matching text, so we'll click on this. So here it says the first instance of similarity is here, School of Earth, which we have seen earlier also, School of Earth and Ocean Atmospheric Sciences, Goa University. So this is something unwanted to be shown as similarity. So what we can do is we can just exclude from analysis. Now we have to go to the next highlight. Here also, if you find that this is of no similarity and all, you can just so this also you can exclude from the analysis. Like that, you can go to different text blocks where the similarity occurs. See, by clicking this open, the codes will be highlighted, brackets will be highlighted, and the detailed text differences will be shown like this. So this way you can understand whether similarity is there, it's a genuine text or a copied content. You can identify, teachers can easily identify it. If it is a genuine content, you can exclude from analysis. So this way you can go further. And after doing that, when the similarity is within our standard, you can download a report by clicking here, export analysis report as a PDF file. So if you want go back to original document without the exclusions, you have to click here, and here in the profile the codes are switched on, brackets are switched on, and detailed text differences are switched on. This is how the new interface of Urkund analysis window exists. So it's a very simple thing. You can each and every text blocks which are similar can be easily identified, and then here there is an option to go for entire document. The entire document will be shown here just as we have submitted. So submit only those content which has to be checked for similarity. For example, the initial pages and all, no need to check. Now we will go back to analysis overview, and here below you can see the similarity. This says that it is 28% similarity in this document, and this is 11% in my account. So far an average of 11% has been found in all documents together. That is what this 11% means. This is how the new interface works. So hope you understood how to use Urkund software for detecting similarity in your research reports. I have not used the word plagiarism so far. Plagiarism comes only when there is a complaint against some similarity existing in some document. So don't worry about plagiarism. Initially it is similarity that occurs, whether intentionally or unintentionally. If it occurs in your documents, that is the worrying thing. So this software will help you in identifying such similarities. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial of using Urkund. Thank you very much.